Utah had been trying to become a state for a long
Yeah.
time,
Yeah.
and they issued this manifesto that said we don't practice polygamy anymore in the year 1890, and then they were successfully able to become a state in 1896. Okay. And so all of that had been agreed upon and worked out. And then the federal government quickly figures out that even though they followed through on their half of the deal and allowed Utah to become a state, the Mormons were still practicing polygamy.
Yeah.
So their response was, okay, if you do not stop practicing polygamy, we are going to come in and we are going to seize all of your assets. And I have heard it said that that was the closest moment in history to the church completely shutting down.
Yeah. Well,
How that would have changed history, huh?
yeah. And what little this was talked about when we were young, it was framed in a particular way that it was framed as persecution,
Yeah.
right? It was framed as, the church kept trying to comply with the federal government's wishes, but the federal government was just never satisfied and just kept coming down on them again and again and again. Rather than the government said, if you want to be a state, you can. You just have to follow these rules. And the church said, okay, we follow the rules. And then the government 5 years later finds out, oh no, that was all a lie.
Mhm.
They didn't follow the rules.
Yep.
This was all a ploy to
Mhm.
become a state and then start receiving all these benefits,
Yep.
from the government. And
So, so
so, yeah, this idea that it was the federal government persecuting them rather than the federal government saying, "Hey, we had a deal. You have failed to keep up your end of the bargain, and now you're contractually obligated to do something about that."
exactly.
So,
And
yeah.
so, yeah, they became a state in 1896. And then um, the next prophet of the church, Joseph Fielding Smith, had to issue the second manifesto, which he did
Mm.
so in 1904. And the reason why was because the church was literally about to be raided and all of
Yeah.
their property confiscated by the
Yeah.
federal government because they were so blatantly and out in the open breaking the law
Hmm.
as a people, as a state.
Yeah. Yeah.
So but rewind 14 years to when the first manifesto came out, and the church members were like, wait, what? What do you mean
Hmm.
we don't practice polygamy anymore? Like, we have these wives, you know?
Hmm.
And so this is what happens with Richard and his family in particular.